and welcome. This is Dr. Candace Hughes, welcoming you today to our Living Loud, Living Long community for 50 Up Women, also called L4 for short. We focus on fitness, nutrition, athletics, entrepreneurship, and creative passions, all the things that we need for physical and mental well-being. And we want to take a moment today to thank all of our patrons and supporters, every one of you who has been donating and liking, sharing, and showing us your support. We especially appreciate all your comments on our Facebook page at Living Loud, Living Long, telling us how we are inspiring you and helping you to make your life the best that it can be in healthy, well living every day. Today, we are focusing on athletics and specifically hiking in terms of fitness and well living. And joining us today are two remarkable women who call themselves the Wander Women, Christy Burns and Annette Demmel. And they are joining us from their wanderings across the U.S., where they are hiking challenging trails like the Appalachian Trail and the Pacific Crest Trail. And they've given up their day-to-day life to share their passions and enthusiasm for nature. And they're here to share that enthusiasm and passion with you all today to our Living Loud, Living Long community. For more information, please visit our website at livingloudlivinglong.com, where you can find all of our podcasts and all of our content that we are sharing with you today. We also now have a members-only community where we are providing you with more information that you can reach through our website. Sign up for our membership community today, or get even more in-depth podcasts through our premium podcasts. And now, Christy Burns and Annette Demmel. Christy, Annette, welcome today to our Living Loud, Living Long podcast.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here. We're excited.
Now, both of you had left your jobs and your home, and you wanted to tour around the country, live out of your RV, and hike some really challenging trails so that you are living more in nature, which I think is just such a wonderful idea. And you did this when you were in your 50s and 60s. What did your family and friends say when you told them that this was your plan?
Our plan has evolved as we've been out. So when we first started, we wanted to, live in an RV and try that. We still had a dog, so we were not doing the super long hikes at that point, but it evolved from there. When we first said, okay, we're going to sell everything and go head out on the road, most people were really supportive. There's always people who are like, what happens if you get old or whatever? And we're like, well, the same thing that happens if you get anywhere else, we guess. But anyways, I think for the most part, because people know us and know the kinds of things that we enjoy doing, they thought it was a good fit.
That's good. I'm really glad that you had support from your family and friends for what you plan to do. It's always helpful to have that support. Some people may think of hiking as another form of walking, but we're really talking about a serious athletic activity. Hiking these trails that have dirt, rocks, may have mud or snow, and you may not have anywhere that you can stop for hundreds of miles in terms of trying to buy supplies, food, shoes if you need new shoes. How did you mentally and physically prepare yourself for this kind of challenge and even the isolation that can come when you're on the trail?
Yeah, all of those things made the adventure great, but very challenging. Annette and I have been hiking for a long time. So for many, many years, we grew up hiking. And we're from Colorado, so we're used to high altitude and mountains and rugged terrain. And we've been backpacking for a long time. So we kind of have that history already, and we have a base as we step out there. We know what our plan was to go as we're getting older, to go as light as we can with our pack. So we're not, because the weight on your body really makes it more difficult on that terrain. So we tried to go as light as we could. We try to keep our packs at 25 pounds and under. And we basically keep a base fitness level all the time. And then we trained. We came to Colorado and hiked big mountains and carried our pack. So we really prepare ourselves. When we start the long hikes, we start slow. The formula that works for us, where we take breaks, we rest, we let our bodies build. Overuse injuries happen a lot. As far as the mental piece of it, we love it. So it's not a challenge at all. We love being out there. We love being unplugged and away from the crazy part of the world and be quiet and in nature. And we have each other, so we weren't totally by ourselves. That's pretty easy. We love it. So it's not that difficult for us to go out there and do that big hike like that. I miss it, actually.
Especially after you have completed one through hike. So we did the Appalachian Trail first, and they say that the percentage of people who actually complete the Appalachian Trail through hike is less than 20% of the people that start actually make it to the end. And when you're doing it, you can see why the numbers are like that. It's hard in so many different ways. Mm-hmm. It's mentally really challenging to stay with it and keep your attitude good and keep that daily flow going. It's physically demanding. You know, there's weather, you're freezing, you're burning up, you're sweating to death. I mean, there's so many factors when you're out there, but there's also the thrill of being out there. When you have everything that you need on your back and your plan for today, tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day is to walk and, you know, filter water and eat your, you know, there's something about it. You get in this groove and it's just this amazing feeling. It's amazing.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. And now you mentioned a moment ago about keeping a base level of fitness and, you know, how you prepared for hiking the trail. How do you feel that hiking the trails has improved your fitness? It sounds like you were already, you know, relatively fit when you started. Has hiking the trails improved over, you know, what your fitness level was before you started, and how did that feel for you?
Yes, I think it's definitely improved our fitness level because, for one thing, the amount of time that you spend exercising in a day when you're on trail, 8 to 12 hours of hiking in there is not unusual at all. So you have to build that endurance piece. And when you're carrying weight and lots of elevation gain and descents and rocks, you have to build over time that where you can do that day after day after day, every day. And then the next day, this was the hardest hike I ever hiked. And then the next day you think, oh my God, I have to do this again. So you build that endurance piece. Yeah. And that's how your fitness level really changes. Part of it is psychological because you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I guess I can do this, right? I can go out and hike for 12 hours a day and live to tell the tale, really.
Yeah, and you'd hear people hiking 20 plus miles a day, and you're like, wow, and then you do it. And you just build your body up, and so you push those limits, and you build, and you're out there for so long, and you have your daily goals, so you're going to meet those goals, which is to get up and hike so many miles or whatever. So, yeah, you push yourself. It really is amazing to feel your body strong and in shape, and that it can keep going. And you could be exhausted and aching at the end of a day, and the next morning you get up, you've recovered overnight, and you go again, and you feel great. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing what your body can do.
Oh, I love that. I know myself when I'm not doing such long hikes, but just my own exercise and fitness routines. There are days when I get down to do it and just say, oh, I don't know if today's the day. I don't know if I can push myself forward. But then when I do, which is most of the time, I'm very happy, and you just get that, you know, feeling of happiness and relaxation, just like you're saying that you achieved something that you were doubtful of at the beginning. So I understand that, and it's wonderful. Now, other cultures do have an encouragement to be outdoors. For example, in Japan, they have a forest bathing culture. And then in the Nordic cultures, they have friluftsliv, or open air living, where they view it as both spiritual and physical healing, being out in the nature and out in the wilderness. How do you view that? Do you feel there's something transformative about being out in nature?
Yes, absolutely. And it's probably the best we feel is when we're out there. And the longer we're out there, the better we feel. I think it's just good for your whole self. Physically you're out moving around and climbing, whatever you're doing, riding our bikes, whatever, being outside, you have the fresh air, you're surrounded by beauty. Things kind of slow down. You don't have we notice when we get back into town and the cars are racing by you and pollution. And people are in a hurry, and where we feel like we can really get into this meditative state, the natural world just feels like was where we are supposed to be. For us, we feel like we go home when we go into nature. Definitely feel like it makes us healthier in every way, mentally, emotionally, physically, happier. And the people we meet out there on those trails are happier too. A lot of happy people hiking trails. You can see the people outside are really smiling and feeling good. So yeah, absolutely health benefits. We try to encourage people to get out there, get outside and spend some time out there.
And especially on those really long walks, when you're hiking for 10 hours that day, you have a lot of time to regenerate yourself, to meditate, to, practice breathing and just do that kind of deep, purposeful, intentional breathing. As you're walking, you're still completing your walk, but you really get that connection with yourself.
Yeah, very centering. You don't have all the distractions. So you're with yourself. Hopefully you're okay with yourself because you spend a lot of time with yourself. Even though we're all walking together, a lot of times you're just quiet and kind of in your own process.
Absolutely.
And in the moment, it keeps you in the moment. You're not distracted by a lot of things. You're totally in that moment, which is really amazing.
I can relate to that with my own day-to-day. I try to get out and take breaks. And even if it's just a 15-minute walk to get away from the computer, away from the phone, and have that quieter time. And we've had other, for example, we did a podcast with a woman who's a polar explorer. And she was saying, similar to what you're saying, that how it's quiet, you get away from the franticness of everyday life, away from the cell phones and so on, and how it's very restorative.
Yeah, we always say, I had a friend, my friend Judy used to say, I need to go in nature and drain the life poisoning out of me. And you feel like that, it's cleansing. It takes a couple of days. When we come out of town or we come out of our lives and start a trail, it takes a few days to get in that rhythm and to drain the life poisoning out of just the craziness of every day.
Every step reminds you that you're in the now. One thing that people don't know or think about when you are doing these long treks and you're carrying your pack and the terrain is often unstable is you really have to keep yourself in that moment. It's all about paying attention.
Thank you very much for joining us, Christy, and in that we're really excited in the Living Long community to hear your adventures, and they're so inspirational to all of us that are following and watching your hiking adventures and cycling now.
Thank you so much for inviting us. It's been fun.
To encourage people to get out there, encourage people to inhabit their own life, do some things.
Be in charge, create your life the way you want to, and live it up.
That's a great note for us to end on, is live it up and to get outdoors. Thanks to both of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Looking for a positive, uplifting community for 50 and up women? We celebrate 50 and up women who are living loud, living long, with authentic stories of real people who are creating the life they want, winning athletes, entrepreneurs, and creatives. We are tsunami wiping away outdated ideas of who we are. We give voice, we give visibility, we give community, learning, sharing, changing, vibrant, healthy, strong. If that's you, you belong with us. If you enjoyed our podcast, support our work by clicking like, subscribing, becoming a member of L4 at livingloud.com, and donating to our Patreon account so we can keep bringing you awesomely inspiring people. See you next month.